I don't have a production studio. You saw my YouTube videos have the bars because I record in Zoom. I don't have fancy equipment. I'm a firm believer that in order to be a best-selling author or to be a top 1% podcaster, you can do it. You don't have to impress people with fancy equipment. They just want you. They want the story. It's the hardest space to change is the one between your two ears. That's the hardest one. You got to get your mind.
Mind.
And you can be visible, but it doesn't have to be big. Like this petite practice. Just take small steps. Nothing doesn't need to be complicated, fancy. Just go out there and share your uniqueness with the world.
What if your podcast could grow without fancy gear, a studio, or a huge team, just by showing up as you? In this episode, I sat down with Dr. Christiane Schroeter, a professor, best-selling author, and a top 1% podcaster who built a successful show with nothing but her phone, her voice, and a deep desire to serve. She shares her Petite practice method. Small, consistent actions took her from just starting to becoming a global podcasting force. And trust me, this isn't fluff. Christiane breaks down exactly how she grew her podcast, landed big-name guests, and used her podcast to write best-selling books, land speaking gigs, and build a meaningful movement. If you're a podcaster, feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure where to go next, this episode is your permission to dream bigger and act smaller. Yeah, step by step, baby steps. The stories, the mindset shifts, the actionable strategy, it's all here. So grab your headphones. This episode will change how you see podcasting and what's truly possible. Okay, tell us your name and the name of your podcast and what your podcast is about.
My name is Christiane Schroeter, and I live in California. And the name of my podcast is Happy, Healthy Hustle. And it really focuses on just that. How can we hustle while we are still keeping up our happiness and our health, and really striving to keep that balance between running a business and keeping our health not on the back burner, but actually taking care of ourselves.
Wow. I'm trying to think of your podcast as 3 phases. It focuses on money, health, and then where would we put happiness? More like mindful, mental. Yeah, about.
Yeah, think about the 3 different circles in that intersection of that happy, healthy hustle, right?
Yeah.
So maybe money is the hustle, and then your health, that makes sense.
It's health. Yeah.
And the happiness, I think that's really
the mind.
When overall feeling like you're doing something that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Or I call it superpower, really. You are in your element and you're feeling you're in the flow. You're doing something where you don't even know how time is going by.
Yeah. How old is your podcast?
It's 2 years. I turned 2 on the 23rd of March.
Ooh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I always talk about my marriage in that way too, but my podcast is now a toddler that it's like in the twos.
Yeah, that's a pretty big achievement. A lot of persons, they quit after 4 to 6 months and they just stop podcasting, stuff happens and it's just there.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this for 2 years. Wow.
Yeah, keeping it up, and I publish it every 2 weeks.
Wow,
so I'm on 2 years every 2 weeks.
Wow. How long is an episode? Like a typical episode, how long is it?
Yeah. So that's really where the word hustle comes in. So I keep the episodes all under 30 minutes. So that when people are on their hustle, whether they are going to work, coming from work, going to a school pickup, maybe they're running to a grocery store, they can just listen to an episode and it's just bringing some happiness, hopefully, into their busy life.
Yeah. Thanks for thinking of it that way. It makes it easy for them to consume.
Yep. I have a trademark on a concept that's called Petite practice, like a little step, petite, and it's called practice because we're always trying new things. And the podcast was just that. I tried something new. I kept the episodes short and it worked just perfectly for me. So it's a petite practice podcast, I call it.
Yeah. Well, I want us to go way, way back before you even start the podcast. Like what led to you starting the podcast? What was the inspiration?
Yeah, a lot of people see me because I'm a professor. They see me teach classes. They see me on stages become also the speaker. And then, of course, or they read my books because I'm an author. But what they really felt like is listening to me when they don't necessarily have the ability to open a book or visit a classroom, and just listening to my voice, because I'm quite motivational. I'm an inspirational, and they just needed sometimes a little pick me up. And so they reached out to me and I said, well, I don't know what to do. And I don't know how to do a podcast. And so I just got started. I just picked up a phone and started recording something, and then expanded that with a video as well. So now I'm not even recording just on my phone anymore. I'm also recording on video. And that's really how it got started. It just got started by people telling me that they were, you're like, I want to bottle that up, that little energy that you give me in the day. And is there a way for you to do it? And I said, but honestly, podcasts live on forever. It's a legacy. You
Yeah.
record your voice, and it's something that you really want to pass on to generations. So if you think about a podcast, it's truly momentum that you're gaining with that. And that's how it got started.
You mentioned you're a professor. Out of curiosity, what are your professor?
Yeah, I do teach innovation, entrepreneurship, and marketing.
Wow. Wow. Okay, this conversation is going to be pretty interesting. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay, they reached out to you. You started. For me, one of the things that caught my attention was the fact that starting was straightforward. You just pick up your phone and start recording, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that you say straightforward, because we sometimes overthink the straightforward, the simple things, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes when people think of starting a podcast, the first thought that comes to their mind is they need to go to a store or to an online site and order an expensive microphone or camera or recording equipment. In reality, it is quite straightforward. You basically have the best tool probably already at your fingertips every single day, which might be your phone. So starting a podcast does not need to be complicated. And that's why I call it Petite practice. And that's what I coach my clients as well, is that it's a small step. Just get started. And that, I think, is so building really the momentum is so overwhelming that we think of a big goal, starting a podcast, but really breaking it down to small steps. You just pick up your phone, just get started.
Yeah. How far back into would you say you added video to the podcast?
Yeah. I can look. Oh, actually, you're going to love this, your wisdom. This is going to be good. Actually, I recorded my first podcast on my phone.
Okay.
And then I thought, I do have video content. So this is a great question. I thought, I have these really amazing people that I interviewed on Instagram Live. All this content just sitting there from the Instagram Lives, because after each Instagram Live, I always saved the recordings.
Yeah.
And so I thought I could do something with that audio from these recordings. I can do something with that video from that recording. And so my very first podcast episodes, if you scroll back, are actually my Instagram Live recordings. And I'm not kidding. I even post the video on YouTube, and you can see us on Instagram Live with the messages coming in. And I did my best in making it extracted a little bit. But those are Instagram Live recordings. So I didn't actually go out of my way and re-record everything for the podcast. I had these Instagram Lives recording already there, and I basically thought I need to do something with them because they're really amazing episodes and amazing people. So I want to share that with the world that maybe did not get the ability to watch the Instagram Live. And those are some of my first podcast recordings as well. Those were the ones where I added the video to answer your question.
I wanted to do something crazy. While we're talking about YouTube and all that,
Love
can
it.
you pull up your YouTube on the screen?
My YouTube?
Yeah, and you can share your screen with me. You just visit your YouTube, and then on the screen you should see a feature to share your screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Okay, let's do it. Okay.
Instead of just talking, those that are watching on YouTube, they can also see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess you would have to go to a tab to your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yep. I'm here right now. Okay.
Okay, because what I can see now is your Riverside tab. That's the tab that you're recording on, not the tab for YouTube.
Okay, so let me stop the sharing here real quick.
Okay.
And then I have YouTube open right now.
Okay,
So
I guess you have to select that tab when you want to share the screen.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay.
You see it now?
Ooh, wow. 240 subscribers, 83 videos. Wow. Wow.
No, there are a few videos there, but what I have is my podcast is right here. So here's my podcast, right? There's my
Yeah.
welcome to the Happy Healthy Hustle. We have see this is like my latest video right there. But let's go, and what I'm going to do is you want to watch one of those
I'm
old
curious. Why is it that
yeah.
there are those black bars on your video?
Because I probably don't know how to make it any prettier.
Okay. No, okay. I guess I could help with that. What editing? I'm sorry. What recording recording tool or app do you use for recording your podcast?
I just recorded on Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Oh, so I'm not conversant with Zoom. No, I'm not conversant with Zoom. I use a Riverside, and so the bar for me, it's the content, but it's just that I don't know. I just don't like seeing it.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Yeah. So here are some other ones, right?
Okay. Do you have solo episodes? I think it seems you've appeared on TEDx.
It's a recording for TEDx. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So here is my
Welcome back to the Happy
note, and then you want to see those old ones from when I did the. So let me scroll through here. So those are those.
Ooh, something interesting. Wow.
Go for it.
Your content is really resonating with your audience. Very inspiring episode. Last journey from Wall Street.
My podcast is ranked in the top 1% globally.
Wow. Where is my notes? Let me take my notes so that I can start writing some pointer. Let me learn from the master.
No wisdom, black bars and all. I'm still like ranking highly. People might not like black bars.
Yeah, I mean it's the content that matters most.
It's the content. So let me.
I think you're about showing me something.
Well, right here.
Yeah.
Tell us
Wow.
so inspiring.
Okay. No. It's a podcast. It's meant to be consumed via audio, and the audio is superb, even though it's Instagram live. It sounds really great.
And Mary Oxner has 500,000 followers on Instagram. So she's quite large. She's a celebrity, so to speak. So this is a true unique opportunity that I'm interviewing her.
Yeah, that even leads me to the next question. How did you reach out to her and get her to come on your Instagram live?
Do you want to know my secret?
Yeah, of course. Let me write the recipe down.
I asked her. That's it.
Wow.
You know why? Because I don't think of no as something that is a personal rejection. If somebody were to tell me no, I would just think next opportunity and I would ask somebody else. And I would think that person is probably just too busy with their life. But I have a few. Mary Oxner was there. And again, see, this is like Instagram Live right here.
Yeah.
Then I have a few other ones. And look at this video. It's not gorgeous or anything. And then I have another celebrity here, down here. I have Piline. She's quite large in the wellness community. She's an author as well. I have Hollis.
The fun story really is that when I realized Hollis,
how did you chop this up?
This one I did a little bit more editing wisdom. But again, more editing. I basically cut the videos and I placed them side by side. But you can see it ends up.
Yeah, I can see what you did there. Just that the text on the screen kind of course, Instagram put the video, the text too with the stuff.
Yeah.
It just makes me to wonder that I think one of the things what I probably could experiment with is doing live streams along with why I record my podcast. That way I could do an Instagram live and then record it. And so just basically ensure that the distribution is way more than just the podcast. What?
Do you want me to show you another one or stop sharing?
Yeah. And one of the things I noticed is that your titles are not...
Yes, they are short. I keep it to 5 words, to be honest with you. 5 words.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
At some point, it seems like it was cut. Notice is that in the title, the user cannot necessarily tell what they would get from the content.
That's a good
point.
But
the content is valuable. It doesn't pull out from the content, from the fact that the content itself is good. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but it's just that people, we want to tell people, okay, this is what you get. Okay, in this podcast episode, I could put your name and put the title of my podcast, which if they listen, that would be great. But it's like a book. We want to title the book in such a way that when people look at the book and the spine of the book, they are able to tell that, okay, oh, this book is about how to make more money or how to live happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here,
Wow.
this is my podcast page.
Your page. Wow.
Right?
2 years podcasting. Wow.
Yeah, we just
Wow.
talked about the anniversary and then top 1%. I'm actually nominated for an award, which is the Women's Podcasting Award. And I have a lot of reviews, 375 five-star reviews.
Wow. I guess at this point in time, I'll get to ask you, what was the major growth lever for your podcast? Can you show us the behind the scenes?
The major growth level for my podcast, and you can see here, that's what I was referring to, all of the short episodes right here. I think it really gained momentum from the beginning, to be honest with you, Wisdom. From the beginning, I felt that I knew what I wanted to do and that I had a good feeling for what my audience wants to listen to. So I was very confident that it was something that what I talked about would be of value, that it would be practical, and that it would truly resonate with them. Just because I've been teaching for so long. I've been teaching for over 20 years now, and I've had 10,000 students. So I know what resonates with them. That's really what it was, that it was no fluff, no wishy-washy, that I immediately felt like, okay, this is what they're going to enjoy. Yep.
Okay, I guess the first thing you've said so far is that the content you offered to your audience was quality content.
Yes.
Okay. So because the content was quality content, when people listen, they get to talk about your podcast and recommend it to other person. Yeah. But I'm curious, the first set of listeners you got to listen to the podcast before they even started recommending and talking about it with their friends and family, how did you get that first?
I basically talked about my podcast with a lot of other people that saw me on social media. Maybe they had watched the Instagram lives. I shared it, just sharing it in the classroom. So I'm a professor, so I openly shared it. I told my students, I have this podcast of these amazing entrepreneurs and these people, and you might have probably missed it on Instagram Live. If you want to, tune in, go to my podcast, go to YouTube and check it out. And that's what they ended up doing.
Wow.
So I gained momentum by sharing it with others, and they truly appreciated that. And I think it was ranked. So it started in March, and it was ranked by June already. So after 3 months in the top 2.5%, ranked really fast. And then by July, probably top 2%. And then by 6 months, right, by September, it was ranked, I would say, top 1%. And that's been where it's at now. So next up is top 0.5%. I don't know what comes next.
Yeah, just for those listening, what platforms ranking are you talking about? Is it Apple, Spotify?
Yeah, so the 375 reviews, 375 five-star reviews are on Apple and Spotify. Apple is the predominant ranking in terms of the reviews. On Spotify, you can leave a review too. You have to listen to the episode to leave a review, while on Apple, it's a little bit more hidden. It's below. And then you can listen to my podcast on all major platforms, including, of course, the YouTube as well.
Yeah. Wow. So 6 months. I guess you basically tapped into your influence you had with being a professor, being on Instagram. I'm guessing, how many followers did you have on Instagram when you started your podcast?
Maybe 3,500, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. The thing that most people don't talk about is the fact that depth of influence is also very important. I've been a professor. Like, if my professor was to tell me, oh, I have a podcast I started about this, and if it was something that was very related to the thing the professor was teaching, right? I was like, okay,
I know.
I might as well just check it out and see what she's on about. And then I start listening and say, okay, yeah, she's onto something. Yeah, I like what she's doing. I might as well listen.
You're going to love what I'm going to tell you next. In my book, let me show you this, and I can share the screen for this as well to show you So in my book, I actually have my podcast episodes here.
Can I really see it? Yeah, I can see the phone icon and everything, but
Do you want me to
my
share this? I can share. Yeah.
okay. I don't know how. Okay, if you can, that would be nice. The quality will be way better. And yeah, just for those listening, you can check it out on YouTube and you can see everything, including her beautiful face while she's expressing everything. Yeah, yeah.
So my book is actually on includes my podcast episodes, right? So I'm pulling up my book right now that I wrote, and the students of course love that because they have the book in their hands. So think about it this way, wisdom. We are all learners, but we all learn differently, right?
Yeah.
And so when you think about whether you pick up a book or so I'm sharing that right here. All right. So
Oh,
when you
okay.
think about, so there is my book right there, right? So
Yeah.
the book has quizzes for the ones that really appreciate interacting with material. It has word searches in there. My students love word searches. Who does not like to play a game? And it has podcast episodes in there. So I call it the 3P system: the quiz, the personal quiz, the power word search, and then the podcast episode. And
Wow.
then it has worksheets and checklists in there. And these are all my 3 books that I wrote. And this book here is actually one of the best-selling books on Amazon, the How to
Wow.
Master Your Goals book. So let me show you a podcast episode right now in my book. So I'm just going to scroll through, and there you saw that it was a quiz, and these are podcast episodes right here. So those are the people featured. So what I do is I feature a person in my podcast, and this is actually one of my previous students. And then people can listen to the podcast, and they can scan the QR
Scan the
code, and
code.
they go
Yeah.
to the podcast episode right there. And then they learn about it, and there's a journal prompt. After they listened or they watch the podcast episode, they can write down some thoughts and they can get the key takeaways from that episode. So that is
Wow.
how I let other people appreciate the podcast that might not necessarily have picked it up otherwise. They can pick up a book and then they get access to the podcast as well.
Yeah. Wow. You're wow. 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 That's a marketing channel that like I've never thought of before. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. One thing about marketing is that it's about reaching people, and sometimes you have to do it the non-traditional way. Just gets to reach people. Wow.
Yeah. And then again, think about it. I self-published my book.
Yeah.
I don't have a production studio. You saw my YouTube videos have the bars because I record in Zoom. I don't have fancy equipment. I'm a firm believer that in order to be a best-selling author or to be a top 1% podcaster, you can do it. You don't have to impress people with fancy equipment. They just want you. They want the story. They don't need the value, the premium equipment. They just want the authenticity. And that's just who I am. And that's how I do it. And that's what I think they appreciate. That's really showing the raw behind the scenes, the true messiness of my living room or wherever I record. That's just, I think, what resonates with my audience.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious to know what you're the one producing your podcast, or you hire help. Okay. Yeah. For the record, she's the one producing that podcast herself. Amongst many other things you do, you're a professor, you're a coach, you're writing a book, you've written books. Yeah. So you're doing so many things. How's your workflow like? Like, what are the tools? How from idea to releasing an episode, what does it look like for you?
Most of the time, really, I think a little bit of, because I teach marketing and I teach innovation entrepreneurship. I think about trends and problems that people are experiencing right now. So I'm not recording like a year in advance. I'm usually
Oh,
recording maximum like 3 months in advance. So
yeah.
I'm very much pulse of time. I want to be releasing an episode when I feel there is a need for that episode. That's what my audience needs to hear right now. So it's a little bit like when you're going through a stressful time, I might be releasing an episode that talks about how can we release stress in a very quick way. Or maybe when people feel they're overwhelmed and they don't really know necessarily how to give a good presentation. My last episode, for instance, was about how can we increase our visibility and be on stage without stage fright.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting episode. So from earlier on in the conversation, you mentioned you record your interviews on Zoom. You do editing or you just put it like that?
I edit it after that. I go quite quickly into Zoom and then I edit it from there.
Okay, you can edit.
I keep the Zoom in terms of the quality for the YouTube videos, but I edit it from Zoom and I extract the audio and I put that on my podcast. So basically the video to YouTube, the audio for my podcast.
Wow, YouTube and then the podcast. I'm quite excited chatting with you. Wow, and you're a professor of innovation, marketing, and some of the methods you use, like what we'll call, innovating. You're doing stuff that it's not a traditional stuff. It's different, but it's working. It's focused on the goal and we're reaching the goal.
Yeah, it's called How to Master Your Goals. Really, like the goal is visibility. How can we, because see, I want to share with others. You can be visible, but it doesn't have to be big. Like this Petite practice. Just take small steps. Nothing doesn't need to be complicated, fancy. Just go out there and share your uniqueness with the world. And I think that's really what the world needs. They just need to hear more of the unfiltered, of the raw, of the authentic you.
Yeah. Your podcast is top 1%. It is, I see when you were showing me the videos on YouTube, I saw a lot of comments and persons were like, wow, very, very valuable, very interesting. Thank you so much for having so guests on the show. Our story is really inspiring. And these were not just one line, these were like 4 or 5 paragraph sentences. They were like blocks of text of people saying, oh, this stuff is really valuable. The podcast, it's reaching the people, it's touching lives, and it's achieving the purpose of why you started the podcast in the first place. But I want us to look at it a bit differently. I want us to look at what are the personal benefits you've had as the podcast host from doing the podcast. How has the podcast helped you and changed your own life, to use that word?
Yeah, quite honestly, the number one thing from being a podcast host is what we do right now, meeting amazing people.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends I met as being a podcast host, and I would have never met those people if I wouldn't have had the podcast. The community that I'm building with others, the collaboration, it's unbelievable. It's such a gift and such a blessing, Molly. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Hey, just a quick break. If you're enjoying the insight so far and want even more behind the scenes ideas, inspiration, and tools for growing your own podcast, join my email list at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. You get access to helpful resources, exclusive updates, and the kind of stuff I only share with my email subscribers. Whether you're just starting out or already podcasting, there's something valuable waiting for you. Head over to mypodcaststory.com/join and subscribe. Now back to the episode. Okay. Can you tell us about some of those friends you've met via podcast?
Yeah. So think about that. When you usually talk to people in person, there's always some distraction or noise going on. People look at their phones, they get distracted with their kids, they might not necessarily listen. But in a podcast, as a podcast host, you get something very unique, this absolute attention of a person. At least you're hoping they're absolutely attending to you and they're not distracted by all these other things because they're paying attention to you. And so some of my friends that I really met there, I'm still texting with on a weekly basis. And I would consider them some of my best friends in my life, even though I've not ever met most of them.
Yeah.
Never met. I had a lady the other day and met her through a podcast. And on the day when I released my second book, she made a point in coming by my city and dropping off a little gift for me. Never met that person before, but she knew how important it was for me to release that book, that she made a point and came by and she dropped up this little handmade bag for me where I can put the book in, my new book. So that was super sweet. Hey, never met her before, but the connection you build as a podcast host is incredible.
That was really tough.
Yep. And some of my best friends, as I say, some of my absolute besties I met them on the podcast.
Oh, all the podcasts, that's my guest that I have on this. One of the things everybody seems to agree on unanimously is that podcasting is a great way to connect and network people in your industry and just meet amazing. But some of them, they do have peculiar benefits podcasting on them. So I'm trying to see if there's something that you say, okay, this stuff is not exactly what every other person is benefiting, but It's like
Yeah, so I think that you just saw on YouTube the TEDx. Always been my dream to be a TEDx speaker.
wow.
Always been my dream. Yeah, I want to be a TEDx speaker and share
Tell us
and
about it.
global speak.
Yeah, tell us about how you got the opportunity to speak on.
I have not been yet. These are my interviews that I record and I share them in my applications. So you have to record a video of yourself speaking about a topic, and those are the videos that are recorded. Yeah, I am applying to various stages, and once I will land that talk, I will for sure share it with you. But these are
Wow.
my applications. Yeah,
Okay. I'm thinking it's a
go
wild
for it.
idea, but
Go for
I'll share it. What if you made episodes? Now, of course, do interview. It's your show, so you can basically do. What if you made episodes where you think about topic you'd like all this list of sample topics you probably discuss or talk about on the TEDx if you were to be invited to as
it.
TED speaker, and then
Mm-hmm.
you make those recordings, you prepare the script, you prepare everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
and probably you would maybe find a stage. Yeah, you could maybe it doesn't have to be a stage. You could put some green screen in your bedroom. You know what the technology is really pretty advanced this period, such that once you remove the you can have a really good looking stage, and then you give the speech. In the title, you put something like so that everybody knows that it's not actually TEDx. Now, give me
Yeah, it could be, for instance, discover your superpower.
discover your presented like and then so a lot of people that are scouting stuff and looking at things, they see you and they're like, oh yeah, I like the way she's presenting and all that, and now they don't have to wonder what it would be like for you to present on.
Good. I like that.
Yeah,
They would
yeah,
essentially see if, so I love this wisdom, manifesting TEDx talk happening, and they'll be like, look at her. All would be neat is just to send her the yes, because
yeah,
she
that's
looks amazing on the stage. We want her
like what see.
on the stage, on that red dot right there. Yes. And look at those YouTube videos. Oh my
And
gosh.
then you do the presentation and then you explain, you're like, guys, this is it. So I was, all the mannerisms they do on stage when they do TEDx and all that. And yeah, so people don't have to wonder, will she's good on her podcast, but when she speaks, will she speak really well on TEDx? No. So it's not really a thing of if, it's not a matter, will you invite her to come on TED Talk? You've seen what she can do and yeah, she can speak on it. That's nice. Wow. It's a good thing you mentioned that, those are some like these some interviews. So now you can actually make full collections and it won't be like you are trying to, it's more like you've done it. It's just like, how do I put it now? You've created a TEDx standard of presenting.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Let's do it. I like that a lot because you know what? X talks, just like my podcasts, are usually only 15, 16 minutes. So they are short. They are short, they're concise, and they're meaningful. And it's really
Yeah.
sharing some idea, like an idea that's worth sharing. And it's most of the time, that's really the premise that you think about something that doesn't necessarily come from some celebrity, but it's more the idea, the story that matters, that moves people.
Yeah. And I'm seeing so many other parts we could take this to because for me, it's more about okay. If someone was to invite you for TEDx, is more. I think TEDx is independently organized, and then TED
Yes,
Talk is more like the main device.
it
And
is.
then for the TEDx, all the people that are around, maybe very close to where that organize different, there are different days, TEDx, California. So what are some of the topics they could possibly want someone to give a TEDx on? And then you actually structure the title and everything, and then you give a flawless TEDx, TEDx standard talk on it. And first of all, it's valuable episode for your audience because TEDx talk is usually valuable. And also it's you. So it's more like you're trying to do 5 things, but you're just
Love it. I like that a lot.
so you're building your portfolio. And this is the interesting thing. Apart from TEDx talk, which you told me is your dream to speak on TEDx, there are other people who'd want you to speak on their events,
Yep.
conferences, and all that. Just from that, you get, and so you get to land other speaking gigs, which would be paid, of course. And yeah, so that's quite
I love it. Yes. And I actually will speak at a writers' conference in the fall as a speaker on a large stage because they are so intrigued about my book. They are like, oh my gosh,
wow.
this is like not just a regular book. This is like fun. It has word searches in there. There are podcast episodes in there. There are quizzes in there. I want to hear about this book. And so I will speak on this big stage about this interactive book that I designed. So that could be.
Have they told you how long you speak on?
It's probably like another thing, like 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. I want to keep it pretty short because I think that the attention span then afterwards, I want to leave lots of time for question and answers to help people create their book and their writing journey.
Have you, let me ask the question this way. Have you getting someone to film you, or have you made arrangements with the conference themselves, content of speaking? But if you have someone that's filming you, you have full creative control of what the person films and what the person does. I'll give an example. Let's say I was with let's say we happen to say, where are you calling from again? You told me where you're calling from.
So basically I'm in California right now. So right between and Los Angeles. So I could hire somebody here locally.
Yeah. And then you tell them that basically, okay, I want you to capture this. And then they won't you become the star, like you call the shots if you get someone to film you. So it's an actual conference. So people can actually see the conference you've spoken at, and then they can see, okay, how well you did. And so I love our video on this stuff. I would love to reach out to her to come speak about that topic in my.
Brilliant. I love that. Yeah, and I think that's that's the website that I just showed you where I shared the podcast behind the scenes. I showed you the ranking and the podcast episodes, etc.
Yeah.
I could post some of those videos there as well.
Yeah, somewhat like your portfolio. So when people go to your website, they can see some of the things you've done, and then they can also, when you put it on YouTube too, it could also get discovered by people. So the titles will, of course, you can always, your ChatGPT and AI can help you with that. But usually, when you want to, hey, this is what you do. So you will give a title that when somebody is, if I'm in the conference and I'm about to sleep, and I hear the title, I'm okay, I'm interested. What does she have to say? I don't know if I'm making sense to you.
No, it's perfect. So here's my press page, right? I'm still here. Do you see it?
Yeah.
So here's my press page.
I can see it.
So I could do something like, instead of having this picture here, having a speaker who sparks real action. This could be like my talk when I'm on this writing conference on the stage, right?
Yeah.
And
wait, doesn't the page scroll down? Okay. Okay, so but right quickly now, there are reviews, but no portfolio, nothing for people to see what it means, like having you speak on the stage.
There's a press page.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So it would be good to have.
All these ones are like them say yes say, which is, but I like to.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So here's some podcast episodes.
So you have now is your podcast episode.
Yeah. So there's.
Yeah, and then appearances you've had on other.
Yep, all the other podcasts where I've appeared. It's like over 200 by now.
Yeah. And then if you start doing these different shops, different trainings, different stuff, people can easily see what it means for you to conduct a workshop. And it could be an online workshop. You have students, you have clients, so you could actually do a workshop for them, explain things, break things down, and then record everything and put it as YouTube. And then also get clips for your Instagram, TikTok. I don't know if TikTok. And yeah, so you could do one piece of content and then several pieces of on. And so the sweet thing, how do I put it now? There are many creative ways you could. Let's say how to master your goals, right? Let's say if that was a TED Talk top, right? On TikTok, the Instagram channel, it will be POV. You are breathing how to like a TED speech or something like that, and that would be nice to like build portfolio. So eventually, when people see this stuff easily, and this thing, I don't know, because I've never organized a TEDx before, but I don't know how those guys think and how those guests. Yeah, that's something you should probably think about. How do those guys find guests for their TEDx?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's application based, right? So there's thousands of people that apply, and then they zip through these applications, and they look for certain things, keynotes that have been given, or certain topics that really stand out, and probably the connection that the speaker builds in the video already. Are these like interesting people to watch? Do they have a good story? So that could be it. But I love the idea with the video because it makes it so much more of a journey, right? How do I land that TEDx talk? How did I get there? I love it.
Yeah, like I get to document the journey. And for me, it's even beyond TEDx talk because you might even not even get, but you could also get the other conferences that might eventually lead you to,
Very
yeah,
good. I like. Plus, it's
yeah,
truly something that, as a professor and as a coach, I want to help others. I
yeah,
want to help others, and by helping others, I help myself. By creating these videos, I would probably help some others that have the same goal to master that goal, how to master your goals. Right? And I would help them maybe discover the superpower. So it all taps into what I'm really passionate about. All the titles are like,
yeah, yeah. I just remember there was a video I saw. I can't remember the exact title, but the title was like days 4 or months 2 of a video until Nike notices me, something like that.
yeah,
It could be this is 4 of me giving a TEDx like talk until I get invited to give a TEDx speech, something like that. And then you
great.
just share about your story, why you're doing this stuff, and then yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot of people will see the journey, and a lot of people for you,
this is good. Thank you. I love that. Really good suggestions. And it's fun
yeah,
because it's also like the behind the scenes is usually intriguing when people realize, oh, she's just a regular person and she's just like me, and
yeah.
really taking it one step at a time. And maybe there's even like some behind the scenes where I'm showing, oh, this is the green scene screen I have set up here before I filmed the video, etc.
Yeah, yeah. You could do the behind the scenes, and then you could also do the full-fledged, polished video and put it
Yeah,
out on YouTube. Like so many content out there you could create. Wow.
I like that. Really good suggestions.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. This I've not read your book, Discover Your Superpower, How to Master Your Goals. But I know that you would be able to definitely in the journey, story, and everything into the book and everything. So you be
Yes, of course. This is a new book.
yeah, yeah. It's the I think I saw recently, I was watching the video and the guy was like, the reason why it's hard to create content out there is because we're trying to create content. That what we
Mm,
need to do is just become the content, document our journey, share our journey, and
yeah.
instead of telling people, oh, how to innovate, of course, the relevance is there, teaching people to innovate. You could become a working epitome of innovation. So like, okay, guys, you see, I tried this stuff and this, and then I know since you're a professor of innovation, there are so many rules and laws of innovation. And then you say, rule 1, do this. So I was like, okay, since I know this rule, I decided to say, let me apply it. So I did this, and then you give this in the specific stuff. So the story becomes interesting. I want to learn about innovation. It's interesting. Oh, innovation, and then maybe a 2 hours class on innovation. Of course, that's relevant, but I don't really see myself watching 2 hours class on innovation. But if I'm like, okay, if there's an interesting story, like innovating my way to there are a lot of persons that want to be on TEDx Talk, that have this lofty dream that you have to appear on TEDx Talk. So a lot of persons will identify, will connect with you, and eventually,
The fun thing about a TEDx talk or landing a TEDx talk is that frequently people have wrote 85, 100, 150 applications before one time they got accepted. So wouldn't it be so
yeah,
fun to actually publish the journey to get there? It's like, all right, here we are,
yeah,
a video. And
yeah,
yeah, because I already, how many did I already film by now? I'm nowhere at 85 yet. I have not filmed 85, but I already filmed a lot of them and I'm waiting to hear back. But it would be really fun to document it because, as you mentioned
yeah.
earlier, why did you start your podcast, etc.? Why did I start the TEDx journey? It's just to get my message out, to share it with bigger masses. To get the word out. Yeah, you don't get paid
And
it, so I would just want to share it. I just want to go for the
yeah,
page and making people's life just a little bit better.
exactly. And then it becomes a win-win because now that you're producing your, I don't know what okay, can you, what is an application?
It's quite intense, to be honest with you. So it's usually multiple pages. It's an electronic application where you have to answer multiple questions about what is the premise of your talk? What is your audience going to take away from your talk? How would you summarize your talk? And then give us an overview of your talk. And usually there's a topic of a TEDx summit, and your talk needs to fit exactly with that topic, right? So it could be a very niche topic, a very obscure topic. And so your talk needs to fit in that topic. And that's what a lot of the questions on the application form will be relating to. How does it fit the topic? Why do you think that would fit? And what is your audience going to learn from this? And what are the top 3 key points that are? So it really wants to make sure that you're not just applying like a generic application, but you're really tailoring it just to that particular stage right there. And then, of course, you have to keep yourself on video, memorizing the talk, usually 2 minutes, could be 4 minutes, memorizing it, recording it, and then submitting it along with your application.
So they give you the topic of what the TEDx.
That particular meeting.
Yeah. So you're basically doing all the work. So you might as well just make it a win-win such that the application process itself becomes.
Yeah, the whole talk for TEDx is then 15 minutes. So you don't submit a 15-minute video, but you're already preparing.
You already have
the appetizer. You give them the appetizer and then they hire you for dinner.
Yeah, I mean, you already prepared the kitchen and everything, food stuff, the ingredients and everything ready. You might as well just.
For sure, you already bought the ingredients. I got the good stuff. Yeah, let me just get it out right now.
Exactly. Let's just, and I mean, if the party is not if they don't invite us for the party, we might as well cook for our neighbors and have them come for dinner.
Might as well just use the spices.
Yeah, that's really. I would love for you speak on TED soon. And I also love to see the journey. Yeah. And I know a lot of persons would love to see the journey of how you get to this. It's quite an exciting. If I'll give an example, if there was someone who documented that journey of getting from A TEDx, you would want to watch that video and follow along with the journey. See, okay, how many applications she do? Oh, what did she do? It's interesting, but I don't know if there's something like.
For sure. And actually what's nice too is, so I already got my first rejection from TEDx, from one stage where I had applied. And I want to share that then too. The preparation that went into that talk was incredible. It was a very niche topic, something I had never heard of before. So I had to research this topic like a crazy person, become familiar, prepare a talk, and record the talk, memorize it, and then it was rejected, right? And so I was like, oh, so I couldn't even record a video, like talking about the fact how it felt like getting the rejection. Not good. But I remember walking up and down my street and memorizing that talk. And my neighbors probably thought, what in the world is she doing? She's mumbling to herself, right? And so it was rejected. That talk was very difficult to prepare. And I don't know why it was rejected, because I just got a generic response. Didn't even have my name on it. Just said, dear, no name. We received many applications. Dear, no name. We received many applications, and they were all of high quality. At this point, we regret to inform you that your submission was not accepted. That's okay.
I don't know yet, but like for some TEDx talk, there are some of those TEDx talk that they actually contact the people they want to speak on, and it's not like they have to go through an application process. I don't know, but I feel like, because I see sometimes they invite some celebrities, some people from some fields, and I'm like, I'm not sure these people actually went through a rigorous application process. So what if we put ourselves in a situation that people, they have to start reaching out to us to come give up?
And who knows? They might change their mind. So again, this is just something that I think of a no as next opportunity. They might change their mind. They might come back and say, you know what, we think actually this was cool what you had prepared. It was a really good talk. And maybe that was just the timing wasn't perfect. It's nothing personal. It's just that I think of it as like maybe they had somebody else on their application pool that just seemed like a better fit. And so that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as being as something that is against me. Again, the next opportunity, the no. That's just how I look at this as, I just keep applying.
No, the next opportunity.
Yeah.
That's a soundbite. Key takeaway of this.
I have 3 good ones for you. That was the first one right there.
Okay.
Fail. I look at fail as being first attempt in learning.
Let that sink in. It's too much good. I have to first attempts in learning.
I know. First attempt in learning. Oh, it's in my book. I have all these in my book. Yeah. What's fun is that we frequently think of the failure as something that we tried so hard. And why didn't we? And then I sometimes think of like adults as being essentially just like 8-year-olds. They want to throw themselves on the ground and just start crying and like sitting there with their emotions. Where in reality, It's not, it's just our first attempt. I just,
Yeah.
it's all right. It totally is something that you need to think like the first try. None of these innovators, Edison didn't innovate the light bulb at the first attempt.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was not a born basketball player either. So you need to figure out, all right, so maybe this is just an attempt and maybe I just need to keep learning.
Yeah. I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I wanted to pull it up from my book to make it.
Okay. Please do. Please.
To make it, it's in my other book.
Oh.
Yeah, I would maybe share the screen again just to make it.
Before you pull it out, can you tell what's the title of this book you want to put?
Oh, this one is the Discover Your Superpower book. And
Yeah.
the other one and the
You know,
shelf.
I have to ask you, even though I can see the book you're showing me, for those that are listening on audio, so they can know the title of the book. Wow, incredible camera. Wow. Follows you everywhere you go.
How to master your goals. Yeah, your goals. And there's also the definition there of my Petite practice.
Yeah.
But I can share my screen again too, and then people can see it a little bit better.
Okay, if you could do that, I would greatly appreciate that.
Sure. So the one thing is when you think of acronyms in general, it's like a mantra, right? Where you think a little bit as like you need to find something that's truly meaningful for you and something that you can maybe even keep repeating as like a little motivation to yourself, as something that you could put on a sticky note and maybe put it on your mirror where you see it on a daily basis. Because the more you see it, the more you're going to start believing it. That's how I think about a lot of times.
Yeah, we need to be reminded more than we need.
Yes.
Most of us, we know these things.
Yeah. And for me, that's like frequently in life, really, when we share things. And all right, I'm sharing it right now here. Okay. Let me pop my screen up. Okay. Screen. All right. So this is my other book, How to Master Your Goals. And let me pop these other. Here is the third one. So market. Do you see it? Market.
Mindset, action, resilience, edge, execution, transformation. Oh.
Yep. That's what
Oh.
a true entrepreneur really needs. It's
Oh.
it's the hardest space to change is the one between your two ears. That's the hardest one. You got to get your mind. And then you got to take action. You have to.
Yeah.
Just take that first step. And you have to be resilient. There will be no's, there will be failures, but you just have to keep going. And you have to learn. You have to talk to others and share what you know and be very open to listening to what they know. And then you have to keep execution and feel the transformation. You're growing, you're learning. And that's really what I feel. True entrepreneurs, that's what they are. They're very humble, but they are also, in general, really thinking about all of these elements, keeping on going, the Petite practice, and sharing their journey with others. So that's what I call market.
Wow. Thank you so much. Wow. This is five.
I call it
Juicy. Yeah, it's one of those episodes you just have a lot of the gear turning in your head and I could do that. Yeah, I could do that.
This is funny you say this because that's all these reviews on whether they're on Google or on Spotify and Apple or even my reviews on Amazon. I have more than like 200 reviews on Amazon or something.
Wow.
The reviews, it's always this, what you just said. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it this way. This is good.
Yeah. I know that now that I've had the opportunity to have this conversation with you, there's so many things that I know you're going to do, and I would love to have you come back on the podcast and then share the progress update of what's going on. Now I have done a number of applications on TEDx Talk. Oh, I did get the TEDx Talk, and this went, and probably would listen to the TEDx Talk and just have fun chatting together.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is I would love the audience to vote for me for the top women's podcasting award in education. That would mean a lot to me to win the award.
Wow. What's the word of?
It's all during the month of May. So I can share that too, that screen, if you're okay with that.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, because to me it means a lot. And then of course, in general, let me share that. In general, we need to get the word out about, here we go, right there. So I'm one of the women podcasters, top nominees. And there is my podcast right there that you saw. And then you can go, womenpodcasters.com, awards, Dr. Christiane Schroeter, and you can vote right there. And yeah, lots of amazing sponsors that made this happen. But yeah, I'm one of the nominees right there. So go to womenpodcasters.com and then I can share this as well. I can pop it in the in your
so I'll add it to the show.
Would
I'll
love
add it to
that.
the show notes. And what will happen is that because of the timeliness of this the content, is it award? Yeah, I would release this episode in May, probably next week. Yeah, I'll release this episode that people can, because this is really timely, so that they can watch, listen, and take action. Please do support her and vote for her. It will really be. These are all little steps and baby steps, petite practice to get into the TEDx.
It is. And then, of course, if you think about the podcast, how I started it and stitched it together with Instagram episodes, I put it together with the YouTube videos, put it together with the book. It's truly a work of love. I think that's definitely deserving an award, like somebody that does it because I don't have fancy sponsors. I don't have fancy equipment. I basically just want to share that you can do this. You can do this. And I love your suggestion about documenting that journey as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how many persons I can count and point to that their stories have really inspired me. Not what they said, but what's basically their life. And I'm like, oh, the thing, I have to copy the link. Else, once we leave this call, it would.
Good. Love it. Thank you. You're the best wisdom. To the audience, imagine a big virtual hug. My daughter, so next weekend in the United States is Mother's Day. And when my daughters described in the elementary school, what's your mom like? They wrote down, my mom, she's an exerciser because I exercise a lot, and she's a hugger. So, are you still there? Oh, did I lose you? No, I think you're still there. Yeah, 2-1.
Okay. It's been lovely. That I feel like we could go on chatting for the next 2 to 3 hours. But yeah, I wish I could. I wish I
have
could.
Another. We could do, I don't know, but I don't know what the time is in Nigeria right now. This might be morning? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's morning, 1:30 a.m. over here in Nigeria.
Okay, so I think I need to sleep.
No, it's the funny thing is that everybody I see says I need to sleep, but this is like day for me, and in the day I sleep, and then in the night, because almost of my guests, they're majorly from the US and Canada, so I have to make adjustments to fit that.
You're amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're amazing too, and you made it easy to have a conversation with you. It takes two to have a chat, and where can listeners learn more about you? You mentioned some of your books. I know you show us most of the books, but not everybody will be watching on YouTube. So some persons might be listening now and they really want to what's the name of the book? And the things you love to share with us and have us check out.
Yeah, so in our video recording, I shared my website, and the URL for it is Dr. Christiane, that's CHRISTIANE.com, drchristiane.com. My podcast.
Is the doctor spelled out or abbreviated?
It's DOCTOR. It's written out. drchristiane.com. And then my podcast available on all streaming platforms is Happy, Healthy Hustle. Happy, Healthy Hustle.
Okay. Happy, Healthy Hustle. That's a memorable podcast, easy to remember. Please do check out the podcast and give it a listen. And then if you happen to be listening to this podcast episode in May, please go give her a boost on Women Podcasters. Yeah, I'll put the link in the show notes.
The best thing would be vote for me and then share it with your 10,000 friends on Facebook, as well as Instagram, TikTok, etc. And just get the word out.
Yeah.
Don't stop at one vote. Share us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Please, I would love to know how the award turns out. If you eventually get the award, that would be great. That would be fantastic. And
next time when we talk, we have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
TEDx.
Let me write these things down before I forget, because I have so many guests that I might forget that I said I was going to. Okay, Dr. Christiane.
Today is a very memorable day because it's actually May 3rd in the United States.
It's what? May 3rd?
And tomorrow, May 3rd here in the United
Okay,
States.
for me, it's May 4th. So,
Tomorrow, wisdom, this is important. Tomorrow, May 4th, is May the 4th be with us.
oh, may the 4th be with us. Wow.
It's from
May the 4th be with us. Yeah. It took me some time to get the reference. Yeah. Okay, so the TEDx talk, I'm just writing down things I said we'll catch up on. The Women Podcasters Award. Okay.
And how did it turn out with the focus of my recordings? The how to do a TEDx talk.
Okay, the
and
TEDx documentation, yeah.
Yeah, the documentation. So I have 3 things to think about. A is update on my applications. B,
Okay.
update on the award. We'll be making it the 3 A's, okay? Application, award, and application and award. And the next one would be amplification. Amplification of my journey.
Yeah.
I amplify my journey. These are the 3 A's.
Yeah.
And I will come back.
Yeah, please, you do have my personal email, so of course you can message me on Podmatch, but please, Podmatch is for strangers.
Yeah.
Message me directly on my email, and love to chat, please.
Love to chat.
Thank you.
And then, of course, think about it too, is now that the whole audience is looped into my story, if anybody else on here has any suggestions, ideas, or wants to be featured on my podcast, I love to have guests as well. I would love to feature you too, Wisdom. Contact me, info@drchristiane.com. That's my email, info@drchristiane.com. And if you have any good wishes, mantras, you saw that I'm very much into acronyms, reach out and I might really take your words and of wisdom to literally speak with you now and use it.
When you're reaching out, to go straight to just jump the line, you can use maybe in the subject line, you can put the title of your message and then put something like my podcast story, or so that she's like, oh yes, this someone from my podcast story. Yeah, I know this person. So you don't have to introduce yourself so much.
Love it. That's very good.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christiane, for coming on the podcast. You made it so, I just feel like I'm catching up with an old friend. And I feel like we've known ourselves for a very long time, even though we just met like an hour ago.
Awesome. That's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always feel that with podcasting, you're crossing the miles and you don't even need to step on an airplane.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's graced my heart that we have to go.
Thank you. And then, of course, to express, tune in. Let us know. Put in the comments, right? Like this episode, share the episode, and put in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. And let Wisdom know as well. If he has any questions, he can maybe ask me on the next recording.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know that this conversation we had is more like we're scratching the surface. We're truly just testing things around. The next conversation we'll be having will be way different and deeper. And I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to that conversation when it eventually comes up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye. I would say have is it a great night? Yeah, for me, it's morning. So have a great day for me.
Yeah. It's going to be May the 4th be all with us.
That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Bokunko, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keeps the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.